Hey, you two family, how's everybody doing? Today I'm going to talk about a topic about veterans that are deported after they served their time in the military, and some of them fought in wars, some of them highly decorated, some of them Purple Heart recipients, and they still deported because they failed to follow. In other words, they failed to become citizens after doing their service. And I looked at some statistics from the GAO, is the Government Accountability Office, and they reported between 2013 and 2018, 250 non-citizen veterans were placed in removal proceedings. 92 were actually deported. So I guess the rest, I don't know what happened. Maybe they produced the proper paperwork to stay in America. But anyway, according to their statistics, 92 were actually deported. Advocacy groups, though, informal networks suggest that the true figure of deported veterans is actually closer to 1,000. During several decades, during several years. I don't know if that's true or not. There's not really good, accurate records exactly how many were deported. The government claims, that only 250 were selected for deportation, and these groups, the advocacy groups, they were in the thousands. So, it's up in the air. You decide which one is really true. I think it's somewhere in between. Now, when Biden was the president, the Biden administration, they launched what they call an immigration, military, members and veterans narrative. Not narrative, innovative, veterans innovative. Okay. And as of 2023, 93 were deported veterans had returned and given temporary parole. In other words, they brought back 93, and so they were put on temporary parole. I guess they're waiting on if they actually go ahead and apply for citizenship. They probably gave them a certain time frame to do this, which the numbers don't match. I mean, here is the Government Accountability Office saying that 92 were actually deported, and then the Biden administration says that 93 will return, so it's off by one. So that is the case with the government. You never really could get really accurate numbers. But my point is this: it's not about accuracy of numbers, or about which one is the true number, the advocacy groups of the government. My deal is this: I always believe in the concept of no man left behind. And I believe that if you fought for this country, and you and if you shed blood and you risk your life and you sign a blank check to the United States Department of Defense, even to the point of giving up your life, I think you deserve the common courtesy to have due process to gain your citizenship. Granted, some of these guys, they came back with issues, they came back with PTSD, and some of them even committed crimes. You commit a crime, unfortunately, the government looks at it and says, you got to be deported. And I kind of agree with that. But why did they commit these crimes? How come they didn't seek the proper the help to the VA system, or why didn't they seek proper, either receive medication or psychiatric treatment, or whatever the case may be? That, I guess, depends on the individual story of each individual military member. But like I said, I believe in the concept, but don't leave nobody behind. I truly believe that, in my personal opinion, being an NCO, I was a non-commissioned officer. I had a 20-year career in the Army. I looked out for the welfare of my people. I not only to make sure that they were physically fit and mentally fit to complete our missions, but I believe that it goes even further. If you have a person that joined the military and is a legal resident, and what do I mean by that? They qualified to join the service because they had a green card. When I was an Army recruiter, I worked in an area where they had a lot of immigrants, and I had to ensure that they were documented. I can't put somebody in the Army that's illegal, undocumented. That's one of the first things I would ask. I would say, where you were born, and if they told me whatever country, one of the first questions I would ask is, do you have a green card? If they said, no, I don't have a green card, the conversation stopped right there. I wasn't allowed to talk to them any further because I could get in trouble. They weren't qualified, as the recruiting command would say. So I said, I'm sorry, but unless you come here documented with the proper paperwork, there's nothing I can do. So these people that joined the military, they were properly documented on the premise that they had a green card, and I guess it was their responsibility to make sure that they went through the proper channels and became citizens. Many of them did not, and that's where they were deported. But I still say you shouldn't leave a man behind. They shed their blood, they shed their time and sacrifice for this country. I believe we should do everything all possible to not to deport them and give them the opportunity to gain citizenship. Now, if they don't want to gain citizenship and they don't want to give up their citizenship from their country, then sorry, brother, you're going to have to leave, okay? Because that was the deal. They gave you a green card on the condition that you are now a permanent resident en route to get us your citizenship, but you didn't do it. But I think so. I'm thinking back on when they were in the military, I believe is a failure of their command. Their chain of command failed them to ensure that they went ahead and did the steps necessary to get the U.S. citizenships. But no, they knew, hey, I use you and I abuse you, and you did your 4 years, your 5 years, 6 years. You don't want to re-enlist. Bye. Okay, move on. The question probably never even came up. Did you do your citizenship paperwork? That most likely did not even come up. And then they find themselves in a situation where immigration, ICE, investigates their status and deports them. And it's sad. These guys fought for our country, and I think we owe them due consideration and due process. That's my opinion. What is yours? I think it's unfair that, they find themselves in a situation and America says, sorry, use you, abuse you, bye-bye. And don't ask them why you didn't get your citizenship. Do you need help? What can we do for you? But no. That's my case. That's my little opinion. What do you think? Okay, like and subscribe on the channel, more military topics. I decided that I'm going to talk about my Vietnam experience. In my next video, I'm going to basically talk about how did I wind up in Vietnam. I didn't volunteer for Vietnam. My friends volunteered me for Vietnam, and so I want to tell you the inside story, how that happened. So take care, folks. God bless, and please like and subscribe. Into the next video.